So let's get started. Tonight we have, I believe there's 4 budgets that were actually tabled. Let's start with the human rights, which would have been on tab 4, page 26. And that was tabled due to, I don't have the reasoning for that.
The reasoning for this matter of being tabled for line item 413016, employee benefits longevity.
Oh,
With this job description for this employee is receiving longevity, even though this employee took employment, I believe, in the month of March of 2020, when there was a year's break in services. And so the question was, how was this employee able to obtain longevity?
okay.
Was this something that was negotiated during the hiring, or what? Or is there some kind of is there an ordinance that would justify? But it was stated by Mrs. Hoffmaster that there was an ordinance that indicated there was no language in regards to how long an employee have to have a break in service in order to be eligible for those type of benefits. So that information, the legal information, should be provided today.
Yep, I have a copy of the mayoral appointment letter from Mayor Perry to Mrs. George. And it says in here about appointing her to the head of the Human Rights Department. In addition, your longevity and vacation will be restored retroactively to your original date of hire. If you accept this appointment, please sign below and return a copy to Andrea Smith, the Personnel Director at City Hall. So I have a copy of the letter dated December 19th, 2019.
Mr. Chair, was that letter submitted to the clerk's office for the record?
No, I got this from the Personnel Director this afternoon.
Okay.
I can send this to the clerk.
I was just wondering if there's any way to verify the date that you're saying it was submitted.
You can call the Personnel Director. She's the one that gave me this letter. So are you insinuating the date is wrong?
I'm not insinuating anything, I just asked the question.
Okay, because as far as I know, this is a copy of the original.
I got a point of order for the committee, and but I believe that the mayor, and this is, somebody might argue the legality of it, but I think that when you're making a hiring agreement, that should be run by resolution through the council, because you're actually spending money and making an agreement to spend money. And now, it may be, because I don't, off the top, to me, is when you have a break in service where I work, if it goes past a certain amount of time, you lose, you don't have your seniority bridged. So, and that's firm, and since we do not, is this covered in the personnel manual about a cut in service? Because this is,
I don't know.
Okay,
you'd have to
I
contact
understand.
Andrea.
But the thing is that you're making agreements, and this isn't the only individual that has been, got employment and, had their seniority bridged. And the thing is, to me, that we need some direction on having a limit of how much time you can be gone and then brought back and have your full benefits. So, I mean, I think it's something for us to look at, and it may not be in the personnel book, but maybe it needs to be put in as a ordinance, and so people will follow some kind of rules here. So, with that being said, I have an issue with it. In how many?
So,
Okay, I don't believe.
I just have a
that-
question, Paul. I'm just waiting for you to finish. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
So while they're figuring that out, just a quick question. When did this originally happen? When was the first time that this happened with somebody coming back to the city and getting longevity? How far back does that go?
I believe that goes back to when the city clerk was the deputy clerk. She left the city for employment with the county. And then when she returned to the city, she received her benefits retroactive to her original date of hire. I believe that's when it started, was the very first one that I recall.
Okay.
But with that question being posed though, how long was that break in service?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I think you said that was about 2005 that happened. You told me with,
Yeah, it was early 2000s when that
with Miss
happened.
Nyla.
I will add, can I add something real quick? I know that also with breaks in service that after so many years, you're allowed to bridge it at some point. I don't know if anything is in the personnel manual, but typically if you have a break, there's a required time frame, and then you can bridge and then get all your benefits still. But I don't know what our personnel binder says. It would be nice to kind of know that, but I've seen both. So if you negotiate it, I mean, you can do that, but again, resolution is probably the way it has to happen.
Right. And I've seen them both ways too, Ange. So,
Mr. Chairman, I think it's a bit unfair to compare this to the private sector like Councilman Prisbalinski did, because this is government and people leave and then they come back as administrations change. Ms. Clark George was here for a while under Mayor Mears' administration. She left and I brought her back, which this was a term of her coming back. I also brought back Mr. Cranston Harris, who served Michigan City well until Mayor Mears first got elected in 2012 and was relieved of his position, not for negligence, but politics. And I brought him back because I knew he was the right guy for the job. I think that this is different than the private sector. And I think comparing it to the private sector is incorrect.
yeah, and my question was, if we're looking at one, to eliminate one, then we need to eliminate them all.
And I did address that on some of the other ones during the budget hearings. I did question others in their longevity as well.
So will we go back and look at everyone that came back into the city after a break and look at theirs as well? Or are we just concentrating on human rights? That's my question now, if it's going to be fair across the board.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
I just think that now that it's highlighted, it's something that we need to put in place moving forward.
Moving forward.
I think Councilwoman Tillman is just identified something that we lack, and if it's not in the policy, we need to put something in the policy moving forward so that we don't run across this again, because I bet you that this has happened over the last 20 years multiple times. So I don't see going back retroactively doing anything, but I think it's a good call out, and that it's something we need to get on the books and figure it out moving forward as a policy change.
I agree.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may add, I agree with Councilwoman Tillman and Councilmember Paul Probolinski and Councilwoman Deitch about it's something that the council needs to look at and we need to fix it. I know it's used as sounds like a bargaining chip to try to get people to come back. And, if everybody agrees upon it, that's fine. But if not, I don't know that much about longevity. I've never dealt with longevity, but I think it's something the council needs to look at and get a handle on to see which way we want to go with it.
And I was just expressing how we're going to handle it today. If there's a motion to pass this as is with the longevity in it, or are we looking to cut it? And as I said, if we looking to cut it, then we need to look to cut it across the board. That's what I'm saying. That's all. So this was a table budget. Do we have a motion on the table, or do we just need to take a vote to make recommendation of passing this as is, and then looking forward, as everyone has said we should do in terms of putting the policy together? I think that's the way to go.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
with that being said, I'll look at assigning this to the appropriate committee to review it and see what the policy should be or how it should read going forward. And I don't think it should hinder this particular budget today from being, recommended to the council. But going forward, I think it should be looked at because it's more than just this one aspect we need to review. So
I would like to,
No, I just want to add one comment before anybody does anything, is that there's some people getting some high dollars on this longevity, and I'm not saying that I don't think that people should be paid for their services, but I also remember in the police contract, from several contracts ago, that longevity was eliminated for a pay raise. And if I mistake that, I think it's back in there somehow. But the thing is this, is I was thinking about this all weekend and how people forget how you get to a point in government, and people leave office and people take advantage of the people that are in office at that time. And I believe that we need to have a concrete policy, and that's what I think that we're talking about here. So if you don't want to amend it now, then I think that we should move forward and maybe eliminate that line item throughout the whole budget and then review it, and at a certain time down the road put it in, because
I gotta ask the question. So you're saying eliminate it throughout the budget? That means fire, that means police, that means every single department that has longevity. Which would then lower, what I'm just saying that would then lower the budget. The budget that would be passed by the state. So then we would come in, and if we add it back, we would then have to add that as an additional appropriation, because we can't change the budget at that time.
correct.
That is very
Correct.
complicated. I think the 5 other council members or the 4 others that had talked about this, I think we should just move forward and, like you said, work on a policy moving forward. Because if we do that, unless you want to make a motion to eliminate employee longevity for everybody.
I would ask that you allow Ms. Hoffmaster to make a comment. She had to leave the table momentarily before you take any action, because I don't believe there's anybody here that is more versed in the final steps of the budget with the submittal of the State Board of Accounts, our state auditor, and other parties that are involved in this after we finish here tonight than she is.
Here's what I'll say, is that I think that this stuff should be brought in front of the council because it's an appropriation. And I think that this is done, and then we have to deal with it, and other people might feel unfair about it, you know.
And
So
even,
that's what I'll say. I'm not gonna make a motion to eliminate it, but I'm making a statement that I think it's not right, and that it's money spent
okay,
that wasn't brought through the council. Thank you.
so do we have a motion to approve this budget as is? Or do we have a cut?
I would just like to wait a moment to hear what Mrs. Hoffmaster has to say in regards to Mr. Perry said that she's on a phone call at this moment before making a motion.
I'll make a comment while she's out, though. I know that, you know, some of these are negotiated through the union contracts, and then also, you know, with some historical precedents that's already been had, I would think we will open ourselves up for some legal issues if we just we do something like that. But I do understand what Councilman Przybylski is saying, that, you know, as the body, the fiscal body, we do need to see these things, especially when they negotiate. Maybe there should be some type of workshop when we turn over mayors and turn over things, as they bring in their new administration, to make sure that the council has line of sight of those negotiations that are happening. Because I would think they will only get what was appropriated in that previous budget. I mean, so basically we're out of extra money, right? Or not? I don't know, but we'll wait to hear from her.
And do you recognize if a motion were actually made to do that, it still is going to come before the full council for approval. So, just putting that out there too.
So you want to cut the longevity out of every single budget?
That was a question posed by Councilman Paul Przybylski.
That was a comment I made, that I believe years ago we took that out of the bargaining with the police and fire, and then now it's back in. And I don't believe that people leave office and then new people come in, and I believe that it's people are taken advantage of. All right. So let me finish. My thing is that I believe that this should come in front of the city council as a resolution because it's an expenditure. All right. And I mean, you may disagree, but it's an expenditure. And I think that when you're doing this, you know, I don't know how much time this person was gone, and I don't know how much time, because I got a real problem with longevity, and this is the reason why, is that we gave something for and to get something years ago, and I think that if we go back historically, that longevity payments were tapered down during when, let's see, Oberlin was a controller, and we were in the, but anyway, my thing is this, is that I think that we should be abreast of it, because I know there's other people that are getting some huge longevity payments, and I don't agree with them. And I just think that it should come in front of the city council when there's a hiring contract made, and to look at what an individual's gonna get, and that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line for me. I just let me say this, is that we as the fiscal body need to review things. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
You know, you can take it from there. And I'm not getting into the DLG or anything like that.
Well, I'd like to address the comment about the police and fire longevity. That has been at least since 1977 in the police and fire contracts. Longevity was re-established for the fire department several years ago. The police is what it's been for at least the last 35 years. Their longevity listed in their contract. So I'm not quite sure what you must be referring to something else if they gave it up for a raise.
I think Yvonne, I think you hit the nail on the head, that it was what I was saying at one time in negotiations years back, that it was reduced and not given, and people were given pay increases, and it's just like I was alluding to, that the fire department gave up their longevity and it was reduced.
No, the fire department did not give up their longevity.
Okay. I guess we'll have to.
We'll agree to disagree on that.
That'll be a debate for another time.
Yes, thank you. Do we have a?
I'd like to
Go
make
ahead. I'm sorry, Tracy. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion on line item 413.016 regarding the employee benefits longevity of 2021 in the amount of $2,250. But with moving forward, that the council prepare an ordinance or a resolution. I'm not saying or in the agreement of removing anyone's longevity at all. I understand what the cost of living. I just want to make sure that when using or providing or giving longevity, that it's actually within their 3-year increments of what they're entitled to. So with that being said, yes, I do make a motion for line item 413.016, employees benefits longevity,
To be,
to be adopted for the 2021 budget.
okay. So basically, we need a motion now to just pass this budget as is. I'm looking at my sheet. There weren't any other cuts out of this budget. So do we have a motion to approve or recommend approval of the human rights budget as is?
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, next let's go to the Boyd Development, because I think we had an answer there. That's tab 5, page 57. Tab 5, page 57 is where that one was at. And we had a question.
I requested Fund 2031 to be tabled. I just had a general question in regards to when we were discussing this budget. It was said by Ms. Hoffmaster that we receive a payment once a year. I just wanted if she could elaborate further as far as what was that dollar amount? Why are we getting it once a year? Where is it coming from? And what was the board development's what type of percentage, or how is that funding coming back to us, and where does it go from there? And she did follow that up in an email to everyone.
Okay. So everything was satisfied with the question, and so now we need a motion to make approval of the Boyd Development Fund. Go ahead.
I just have one other question.
Yes, go ahead.
So with this amount, so for the board development, that, the current cash balance that's in the board development, that $1,181,095.33 is in the, can you tell me within the contract, does it say how those funds are to be used? That was something that was asked on that day.
I believe the original agreement just left it at community development. The original agreement left it at community development.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, let me ask a question on those same lines for exactly what the Boyd Development is used for. Ms. Hoffmaster, may say, community development, and that might be partly right. I think that we should get a specific answer from the city attorney, and she can email everybody, so everybody knows exactly what Boyd Development is for. So I'll call her up tomorrow, and I'll tell her if she would, ask her if she would do that.
Okay.
Okay?
And then just one other thing, on Tuesday at 4:30, right at the beginning of one of our budget hearing meetings, we were given by Controller Hoffmaster I would say an amended or a corrected fund for 2031, and that was another reason why I questioned, because for the year of 2020, the actual amounts were tallied differently from what was provided to us in our proposed annual budget. And we wanted clarity as far as, can you submit to us changes after you've already provided council, the finance committee, with the proposed annual budget?
Well, like I stated last week, this is done for the council's convenience. This is not the proposed budget.
So
The proposed budget numbers are correct. The column that you're referring to was given to you as information only.
So then correct me, because I'm not understanding clearly then. So what is it that we're looking at right now?
These are worksheets of the budget with additional information.
So will the finance committee actually see the proposed budget before signing off on Form 4?
Not before you sign off on it.
Then how can I sign something that I haven't seen?
I can, the best we would be able to do is get all the adjustments put into Gateway and print off the forms, and you could look them over, and if there's no amendments on third reading, we could have,
There are not going to be any amendments on third reading.
well, then we can have that for you at third reading before you sign off on Form 4.
And will that be the exact numbers that will be submitted to the state?
That is correct. We don't submit to the state what we've spent so far in 2020.
Correct.
So the first column on here, the 2021 proposed budget, this is what the mayor is proposing to the council. Those numbers did not change on any of the forms that we gave you.
Okay, but again, though, I would like to request that the finance committee actually see the final proposed budget before signing off, or for any of the council members to sign off,
Okay.
which is on Form 4.
That is this right here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, this is what
Yeah.
you'll get, so, okay.
I
We'll have
appreciate
the
that.
clerk run copies for you before that meeting.
Thank you. And then also, President, I would like to make a motion for Fund 2031 under the Board Development Fund to be approved as is.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none. All right, next up, let's go to...
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
before you move on, I'd like to make a simple comment here that this budget that was, this booklet, I'm going to call it a booklet, that was prepared and given to the council was done in a format to make it easily read and understood by you. What you just asked for, Ms. Hoffmaster, she may give you the raw form that she has to deal with, that only a person with extensive accounting experience would understand. So if you get that the night that this is on third reading for approval, good luck digesting it in one sitting.
With that being said, Mr. Mayor, I greatly appreciate that comment, but not to assume lightly of what someone's knowledge, education, or abilities are in reading someone's finances or reports.
Duly noted.
And which else? I see page 10, that was, because I have, that I wrote for the controller and the mayor's budget 2-to-1, 2-to-1 in regards to passing, not tabled. I think that's it for tabled. Was that 2-to-1 not to pass? For the controllers and the clerk. No, that was 2-to-1.
Yep, I had those passing at 2-to-1.
Passing at 2-to-1, that's what I have on my
Yeah,
sheets.
that's what I had written on mine.
All right, so we're done with the tabled budgets. So the way this is gonna happen, from here out, till Tuesday, and it says here that I'm supposed to actually go over the finance committee recommendations, and I have most of those here. I mean, I can read them off to the rest of the council members that are here, that have been compiled so up to this point. But when we come in on October 6th, that'll be the second hearing of this budget, and we'll have further discussion at that time. But since it does say on here, finance committee recommendations, I can't read those into the record as they stand today. And this does include,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
just a comment or a question for Ms. Hoffmaster. And I know I asked this question during the budget hearings, and it has to deal with the premiums for the health insurance. If there was any increase in premiums this year for health insurance for the city. And you said that you would call it general insurance or one of their carriers or the person responsible to find out if there has been an increase or not.
I did not look at the exact amount that we paid last year over this year on the premiums, but from what I understand that no, there was no increase in the premiums.
Okay, and that's per general insurance?
That would do per the personnel director.
Okay, thank you.
That those premiums all go through.
Okay.
okay. All right, since there's no more actual singular budgets to review, I am going to just read off the recommended, or the recommendations of the council. I mean, not the council, but the finance committee. If you have the sheet that I handed out at the very beginning, it gives it the department category, meaning that the actual line item, the account number, the original budget request, the recommended cut, and then the amended balance. And I did not record how the votes turned out for each cut, as in 2-to-1 pass, 1-to-2, and whatever, how that ever works. or who was the dissenting vote and anything like that. But that'll be provided on the next sheet when it comes up to the city council on Tuesday. So I'll start reading these off, and these are actually inclusive of, we had a couple of adjustments that were just key entry errors that they changed to move forward. So since I put them on here, I'll read them in right now, but they will not be on the sheet. I'll pull those from the next sheet because they're actually not budget cuts. They were just amendments to key entries, okay? First one was City Hall repair and maintenance, account line 423.011. The original budget requested amount was put in at $36,100, and we cut that down $32,500 to come to $3,600, and that was supposed to be the original amount typed into the budget. City Hall repair and maintenance small tools, account line 423.031. The original budget request was $1,805. The recommended cut was $500, and the amended budget balance is $1,305. Park Department, this was Fund 2056, the Recreation Fund, rental of property, North Point. Account line was 362.042, and this was because they're not going to do actual rentals, so we pulled that out. So $3,900, and cut was the whole $3,900 down to zero. Park Department, Fund 2056, Park and Recreation Fund, other contractual, 439.090. $800 was the original amount. $800 was the recommended cut, down to zero. Historic Review Board, salaries and wages, board compensation, the elimination of secretary pay, 411.015. $2,400 was the original budget request. $2,400 was the cut, down to zero. Historic Review Board, other service contractual, and this was cutting the legal fund, 439.090, count number. The original amount was $6,317. Recommended cut of $1,669, leaving the amended balance is $4,648. Tree Board, salaries and wages, board compensation, like I said, elimination of the secretary, salary 411.015. The original requested amount, $2,400. Recommended cut, $2,400. And the amended balance, zero. Tree Board, other services and charges, membership dues, account line 439.080. The original amount, $475. The recommended cut, $475. Amended balance, zero. Tree Board, other services and charges, education, account number 439.091. The original budget request, $850. The recommended cut, $450, leaving an amended balance of $400. Police Department, operating supplies, household supplies, account line 422.031. Original budget requested, $18,050. The recommended cut, $3,000, and the amended balance, $15,000. Police Department, rental equipment rentals, 437.020, the account number. The original budget request, $902. Recommended cut, $402, and so that left the amended balance at $500. Fire Commission, salaries and wages, board commission, once again eliminate secretary pay, 411.015. The original budget request, $2,862. Recommended cut of $2,862. Amended balance, zero. Police Commission, salaries and wages, board compensation. Eliminate secretary pay, 411.015. Original budget request, $2,862. A recommended cut of $2,862. And amended balance of zero. Police Commission, other services and charges, account 439.090. Original budget request, $14,042. Recommended cut of $14,042. Amended balance of 0. Board of Works, office supplies, other office supplies, account number 421.005, original request $45,125. Recommended cut of $40,625, leaving an amended balance of $4,500. Was that one of those that were entered? Okay, just check those. I'm gonna pull those off for the next worksheet. Board of Works, repairs, maintenance, building, account number 436011. Original budget request $3,610. Recommended cut $3,610. Amended balance 0. Board of Works, repairs, maintenance, equipment 436020. Original budget request $112,475. Recommended cut of $56,237, leaving an amended balance of $56,238.
Yeah, Chairman, I'm sorry. I need to point out that you took a number from a transaction. That actual budget line is $171,475. And you want to cut $56,238.
Oh, the 112
That would
was
leave
in
a
the
line
total.
item budget of $115,237.
So I zeroed in on just that item. So it was 171.
171,475 was the original budget,
Okay.
and you're cutting the 56,238.
Leaving
That would leave 115,237.
237.
Because the way you read it would have put the entire line item at $56,000.
Yeah, rather than one of the actual services that made up the total. Thank you. Planning and inspection, rental equipment, account 437020. The original budget request $2,707. Recommended cut $500. And the amended balance $2,207. Planning and inspection, membership dues, account 439080. Original budget request $2,030. Recommended cut $500. Amended balance $1,530. Cemetery, operating supplies, gasoline, account 422.021. Original request $9,476. Recommended cut of $1,500. Amended balance $7,976. Central maintenance, utilities, electric, account 435.010. The original amount $28,880. Recommended cut $6,680, and the amended balance $22,200. Vector control, salary and wages overtime, account number 411.016. Original budget request $10,000. Recommended cut of $3,000. Amended balance $7,000 even. And last, vector control, repair, maintenance, supplies, repair parts. Account 423.021. The original budget request $4,512. Recommended cut $2,500. And it left an amended balance at $2,012 even. And those will also be read into the, again, when we vote on those in the meeting on October the 6th. And I need to do some quick math here about the, well, without taking out the keystroke errors, as of right now shows that would total about $182,000, $183,414 in cuts. But obviously, when we make the adjustment, when I pull out the things that were just keystroke errors, obviously that balance is going to be less than that. So that's where we stand at this time.
Mr. Dabney, I got a question I want to ask on a item here before we leave, if I may. On the local road and streets fund, it's 2002.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 47 on tab 4.
Tab 4, 47?
You know, I'm looking at this and it says that on this fund that we have revenues projected of 625,000, expenses of 425,000. Now, is this for repairs within the department, or is this going for street repair?
Hang on a second, I'm trying to find you. Tab 4, page
47.
The main expenditure from that fund is the road salt
Mine stops at
The road,
30.
that's,
for the winter time. That's what the snow plows throw out, the road salt.
Mine stops at 39.
that's the main expense. So you got an expense there, but it says expense total, so is that totaling up like $425,000? And then on the shared revenue, you know, which I understand, you know, so much goes to, you gotta share that and so much has to be put into
That was
local road
that's-
repair.
No, that was different revenue. We talked about the shared revenue. Those were MVH funds, are the shared revenue.
Okay, so on the MVH fund, on page 43, fund 3, line item 335-014, I understand that $753,000 goes to local roads and the other $753,637 goes into fund the street department. Where is this $753,000 accounted for?
That fund's not budgeted.
What?
That fund is not budgeted. So you don't see it in this packet.
Okay, so where does that money lie? Is it
It's in
lie
Fund 2003 called MVH Restricted. That it's not in your book. Oh, is it? Oh, okay, I
Yeah, it is.
apologize. Okay.
So what I'm interested in is, so how is this money allocated out of this fund? Is it through the Board of Works
Out of which one?
Fund 2003 Motor Vehicle Highway Restricted? Out of the MVH fund, which on this page is line item 335-014.
Yeah, that's a revenue line. So that's the 50% of our anticipated MVH funds.
I understand that. I want to know how this money, who handles this money and how is it accounted for during the year? Is it, I don't see any like local road and street repair line item. So is this in the general fund and then it's allocated out of the Board of Works after we approve this budget? I want to know what's,
This
I want
fund
to
is-
know, I want to know
If we want
what's
to
going on
spend,
with this
if we want to spend the
$753,000. Okay?
If we want to spend this $753,000, we will have to bring to the council an additional appropriation. We did not appropriate any funds to be spent in this budget for in this fund for next year.
So you're telling me that we're not gonna do any road, street repair, which we're obligated to do? We're supposed to spend this money on street repair.
Well, there's no plans in place at this moment, so we did not appropriate any funds to do it.
Well, what are we gonna do with this money then? Aren't we
When-
obligated by the state to put the money into the roads?
It can only be spent on that. It doesn't say that you have to spend it every single year. It has to be spent solely on pavement preservation.
Well, I know a lot of
So when,
road.
if a project comes up, we will have to come to the council for an additional appropriation.
If a project comes up, okay. Well, all I can say as a council member is that I believe that in previous administrations, that we have sat down and asked for any input from the council members. So I think that this money needs to be spent in the neighborhoods for street repair work. And I don't know what you think you're gonna do with it. Will the Department of Local Finance let you spend this on, okay, they'll let you spend it on other funds, but then it's gotta be repaid if you got a money shortage, correct? If you go to use this as a reserve
This
fund,
money can only be spent on pavement preservation.
okay, so why are we not doing anything next year? Why are we sitting on this money? It has to be spent on this, why aren't we doing something?
Councilman, that's not a decision that the controller makes. That'll be made by the administration, city engineer, and the planner. You're a little bit premature in this. Some of this money will be spent, but you're asking the wrong person.
You can answer it, Yvonne didn't have to answer it, so you answered it. You're not spending any money next year.
No, I did not say that. We don't have to decide this year what we're going to do next year. It doesn't take very long to decide. You saw that this year when the project was done on rebricking that street along the west side of Marsh. The decision was not made. That decision was not made in 2019. It was made in 2020.
Well,
You're very premature with your question.
No, I don't believe I am. We're talking about the budget.
Well, I don't have an
and
answer for you.
I
It'll be
want to
made.
make sure
That decision will be made next year.
people know what
That
this
decision
money's
will be made
supposed to be
next year.
used for.
That
All
decision
right.
will be made next year.
It's gonna,
Okay.
Thank you.
it's gonna have to come to the council for an additional appropriation, so
I
they'll know
know
what it's
that.
used for, that's what I'm saying. They will know,
I just want people to know,
when they come for an
what this
additional
money's
appropriation,
for.
it's gotta go through 3 readings, they'll know.
okay? And what previous administrations had done, to work with the city council. Thank you.
It's coming through the council. All right, that concludes what we're going to talk about tonight. Once again, we will, I'll read these amendments. I'll clean up this sheet and get the amendment sheet to all of the council members long before the council meeting, so you'll have them. And we'll be taking those up by vote, with the recommendations of approval for each recommended cut. If you have any additional questions, let's go ahead and get those questions answered. As Councilwoman Tillman did, she sent an email ahead of time, got her answer, and took care of it and moved on. So,
Councilman, Chairman
yes,
Devin.
Councilman Dispatcher.
Now, as going into second reading, it is possible for individual council members to review this and go through and make any additional cuts that they may see fit, but we'd have to approve them at the second reading, correct? And those would have to be submitted in writing to the clerk's office prior to the meeting, correct?
And that would be yes. I've never seen it, but that has to be the procedure. Yes. Good question. Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, is that the end of business? Is business
Yes, that
closed
is the
now?
end of business unless anybody else has any more questions.
I have a comment,
Okay,
please.
thank you.
Since our last budget hearing, the Personnel Department received a phone call from an employee of Michigan City government who expressed disappointment and anger at the inappropriate language that was used by Councilman Paul Przybylski during the time when his microphone was supposed to be turned off. I would like that councilman to issue an apology to the people of Michigan City for his language and a personal apology to Michigan City Planning Director Skylar York for the name that he called him. Thank you.
I have no problem issuing an apology, Mayor, and I will say this, is that I apologize to everyone. I was out of line, and I should have had my mic off. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.